The man was summoned to another world as a slave by a young girl, but in the next moment, their positions completely reversed. The slave collar that should have been on him was now around the girl's neck instead. The reason Jack could do this was simple. His account level from his previous life was incredibly high. His reflection ring was particularly legendary. Whoever tried to cast spells on him would have all effects completely reflected back at them. Freshly transported to this world, Jack felt completely bewildered. All he could hear were two girls arguing intensely about which of them should own him. Jack's first thought was to better understand his current situation. As a shut-in, he was terrible at conflict resolution and severely socially anxious. His only experience talking to girls involved being hunted as the Demon King in games, so he attempted to stop their argument using his best Demon King voice. Unexpectedly, it worked remarkably well on the girls. At first he thought he had intimidated them, but the girls were actually shocked that their pet could speak. Ignored, Jack intensified his efforts, commanding them to make peace and shake hands. The result, the girls found their bodies moving against their will. Despite their mental resistance, they instantly shook hands and made peace. Even more bizarrely, slave collars now appeared around all their necks. Jack's reflection ring had activated its effect. Panic swept through the girls. This was too much to process so quickly. It turned out the summoning ritual had included servant binding effects, meaning they were now Jack's slaves. They brought Jack to an inn. Surviving the night was their immediate priority, but the elf girl discovered their budget was insufficient and insisted on sharing a room with Jack. Not to be outdone, the cat-eared girl also demanded to stay with Jack. This angered the cat-eared innkeeper, who nearly threw them all out. With no choice, the three decided to share one room. As Jack gazed at the enormous bed, his imagination began to wander. Suddenly, knocking interrupted his thoughts. The visitor was the Mage Association president, who had come specifically for the cat-eared girl. After witnessing the collars around their necks, he immediately understood the unusual situation. Given their relationship, he normally wouldn't interfere, but this time he begged Jack to let them go. Hearing this, the cat-eared girl looked heartbroken. Sensing something was wrong, Jack pressed for details, but his questioning earned him insults from the president's attendant, who called him rude and ignorant. Though they didn't know it, Jack was actually the Demon King.
気安く話しかけるな。小物。
The attendant froze in terror. Under the president's order, he left angrily. Jack then learned the president wanted to bring the cat-eared girl back to the guild for protection. Apparently she was crucial to this world's stability, though the cat-eared girl ultimately refused. Strangely, no argument ensued. Seeing the cat-eared girl keeping secrets with such a troubled expression, Jack, who always pursued 100% completion in games, couldn't tolerate this. This wasn't just about main storyline progression. It meant missing out on content. Perhaps he needed to manually trigger this event. Jack decided to investigate immediately.
ちょっとどこ行くの？
こいつが口を割らんかな。拷問してくる。
But back in their room, she refused to say anything, left with no alternatives. Jack discovered something strange. Though he merely tried scratching her cat ears playfully, it unexpectedly worked remarkably well. Knowing her weakness, he pressed his advantage. This way he could obtain the information he wanted. As expected, she confessed everything. The cat-eared girl finally revealed her long-hidden secret. Another Demon King was sealed within her body. Everyone feared the seal would break, so they believed only her death could properly capture the Demon King's soul. The Mage Association president was concerned that the Demon King's followers might get to her first. Seeing the dejected cat-eared girl, Jack decided to accept this quest. Hearing Jack's commitment, the cat-eared girl wept with gratitude. She confessed that facing this alone would have been unbearable. As Jack watched in surprise, she gradually wiped away her tears. Though Jack considered hugging her, his social anxiety kept him at a distance. After comforting her to sleep, Jack stepped outside for some quiet time alone. That's when the attendant he'd earlier called Small Fry returned. Jack never expected that. Anna would, in front of everyone, ask him if he liked Jenny. What he didn't expect even more was that, in his anger, he blurted out, "How could I like that ugly monster?" And when he saw Jenny still trying to force a smile, he couldn't hold it in anymore and fled the scene. Back at home, Jack told himself that tomorrow he would definitely apologize to Jenny properly. But before the next day came, he received the news that Jenny had drowned and died. That day, all relationships ended. Everyone left the house as if, alongside Jenny, their friendship had died too. Years passed, and the children had outgrown their youthful innocence and entered high school. In these past years, everyone made different choices to move forward. Gina and Mike poured all their energy into their studies, and they were accepted into prestigious high schools. Anna made new friends, and the shy Bobobo began traveling the world, because that was his dream. It seemed like everyone was doing well, but Jack stayed in place. Ever since the day Jenny passed away, Jack's time had stopped. He always believed that if he hadn't run out of the house, Jenny wouldn't have chased after him, and the tragedy wouldn't have happened. So from the day Jenny's accident occurred, his world crumbled. The once spirited young man was gone. He began to fear interacting with people, fear making friends. He hated school, so he started skipping class. Of course, he paid the price for it. Originally an excellent student, he ended up barely getting into a third-rate school. Jack locked himself in his small room, spending his days playing games frantically, because only during those moments could he forget everything. Now, he couldn't face anyone, not even himself. But what he never expected was that, on this day, while he was playing a game, Jenny, who had passed away years ago, appeared once again. This gamer is outrageous. Even when a hammer hit her head, she just felt a tickle. Maple defense is not only scary, but her attack skills are also very powerful. A gentle bump with her shield is enough to one-shot her enemies. Just moments ago, after obtaining new equipment, Maple immediately began testing her combat abilities. Her shield can be used not only for defense, it can also be used to hit the enemy. The monsters can't stand up to it. Just then, a swarm of ladybugs appeared. Maple pulled out a short dagger. Its special skill, Paralyzing Wave, could immobilize enemies instantly. Then, without hesitation, she picked up a ladybug and took a bite out of it. After eating the bug, not only did Maple gain explosion resistance, resistance, but she also unlocked a new skill, Predator, which let her devour anything. But Maple actually applied the skill to her shield. Now, even her shield could eat people. Shortly after, she was teleported to the venue for a new in-game event. After knowing the rules well, all players were sent to the event's special map. Maple found herself inside an abandoned attic. Since her movement speed was too slow, she figured she might as well stay put and wait for enemies to come to her. As she doodled on the floor, a swordsman suddenly barged in and launched an attack, but in the very next second, he was swallowed whole by her shield. Seeing this, the other players charged at Maple all at once. Maple activated Paralyzing Wave, then casually lifted her shield and devoured 3 more players. More and more challengers swarmed in, but with Predator at her disposal, it didn't take long for her to defeat hundreds of players. In the end, the remaining players made a unanimous decision. They had to team up and take down this walking cheat code first. The farmer is incredibly powerful. He possesses the ability to instantly defeat a dragon. He is married to women from the entire village. Each of his wives is more formidable than the last. Even the Dragon King would kneel and bow before him. The Demon King himself seeks to gain his favor. One day, Vigor, one of the 4 heavenly kings of the Demon King's army, arrives at Jack's village. He brings a bottle of universal elixir as a friendly gesture. Vigor's purpose for coming is to discuss land rights in this territory. Jack recalls Lulu once mentioned this area is under the Demon King's control. He mistakenly believes the Demon King is demanding taxes from him. As the village chief, he refuses to show weakness. He firmly informs the heavenly king that if they are permitted to live here, he is willing to offer 10% of the farm's harvest as tax. Vigor is stunned. His original intention was to grant the land to Jack. He never expected Jack to misunderstand, but he dares not correct Jack. He obediently agrees to Jack's terms. If Jack becomes angry, Vigor's life could be in danger. Jack prepares a written agreement for him to sign. He also gives Vigor some local products as a return gift. Then Vigor takes his leave. Lulu and the others are very pleased with the arrangement. By accepting their tax, the Demon King must now provide them protection. Moreover, offering only 10% is far below the usual 50 or 60%. They also require the Demon King's envoy to collect it in person, which prevents the Demon King from stationing officials here to monitor their actual harvest. In short, they have secured the Demon King's protection at the lowest possible cost. Most importantly, the universal elixir gifted by the Demon King is extremely valuable. When Vigor reports the outcome to the other heavenly kings, they are all confused. They cannot understand why someone with Jack's power would seek their protection. They suspect Jack must have some hidden scheme. Vigor shares their suspicion, but he had no choice but to agree. He witnessed the formidable allies residing in Jack's village: the Vampire Princess, the Angel of Annihilation, legions of high elves, and packs of hellhounds. Even the guide who led him was a formidable warrior. When Vigor saw them, he thought he would surely die. Rejecting Jack's terms under such circumstances would have meant immediate hostility. Fortunately, Jack's attitude during their talk was quite friendly. He even gave Vigor local products as a gift. But when Vigor saw the cloth used for wrapping, he was shocked anew. It was woven from the silk of demon spiders, creatures so fearsome they could rival even the most powerful Demon King in history. The very next day, the Dragon King visits Jack's village. After introducing himself, the Dragon King respectfully bows his head to Jack. His attendant presents Jack with a gift, a sword that appears immensely valuable. They have come to seek peace. They live in the mountains near Jack's farm. Touched by their politeness, Jack is somewhat overwhelmed, but he wonders why the Dragon King keeps his head lower. Hearing this, the Dragon King finally dares to look up. Jack considers offering hospitality, but the Dragon King's enormous form cannot enter his house. The attendant agrees this is a problem and suggests the Dragon King take human form. Unfortunately, the Dragon King in human form is male. Jack is visibly startled. However, after tasting Jack's fine wine and dishes, the Dragon King gets drunk and refuses to leave. Luckily, the attendant remains clear-headed. After some persuasion, the Dragon King sobers up a little. He then bids farewell to Jack. As they depart, Jack gives him a large sack of apples. After receiving visitors 2 days in a row, Jack realizes he must establish proper diplomatic procedures. First, he asks the elves to build a guest house for receiving visitors. Next, he sets up a reception protocol. Their previous method had been too aggressive, and the spider alarm system was too basic, unable to distinguish between enemies and guests. If things continued as before, guests might be attacked by lizardmen before even arriving. So, after instructing the spiders, Jack asks the elves to make special welcome bells for them. For the reception team, the leaders of each tribe will serve as representatives. To prevent enemies from disguising themselves as guests, Jack assigns Flora to surveillance duty. This task is well suited for vampires, as they can stay awake for days without sleep. Once all this is prepared, a new group of visitors arrives in the village. This time, it is a party of male beastkin from a friendly neighboring village in the eastern mountains. They have come to establish friendly relations. Jack leads them to the guest house. When the guests see the many beautiful maids, their eyes light up with clear admiration. Noticing their reaction, Jack feels quite satisfied. After Lulu escorts them to the reception room, Thea suddenly locks the door behind them. The girl took a part-time housekeeping job to save money so she could chase her favorite idol. But by pure coincidence, she ended up working at the idol's own home. After seeing what he was like in real life, Annie realized he was nothing like the version she knew online. The Kevin in her imagination was bright and cheerful, but the real him was a gloomy shut-in. Even though she was shocked, she convinced herself that Kevin was probably just exhausted. Before she knew it, Annie blurted out that she was actually one of his fans. The moment Kevin heard that, he panicked. He thought that after seeing his darker side, Annie would stop liking him. Hearing this made Annie furious. She felt Kevin was doubting her feelings for him. She told him that a world with Kevin in it was heaven, and that he was a god to countless girls. After that, Annie asked why he always acted so cheerful in front of his fans. Kevin sighed and said it was all arranged by his agency, and that he also wanted to bring happiness to people everywhere. Annie remembered that Kevin had said the same thing before he even debuted, and that's when she realized how much he truly cared about his fans. She then told him that she liked the real Kevin too. Kevin was surprised to hear that, because his manager had warned him never to show his true self to others. And after he became famous, the rise of online haters slowly destroyed his confidence. If he could, he even wanted to hide away on a deserted island and live completely alone. Hearing this, Annie immediately panicked. She firmly told him she would always support him, but Kevin still looked completely worn down. To cheer him up, Annie decided that starting today, she would personally cook for him. She believed that good food could lift anyone's mood. Kevin, however, suspected that Annie was trying to poison him and kill him. He wanted to refuse, but Annie insisted and forced him to eat. Left with no choice, Kevin took a bite. The moment he finished eating, his mood instantly improved.
すげえ好みもう今ここで全部食っていい
Even though Annie knew Kevin was talking about fried chicken, seeing him lean so close to her still made her extremely shy. Over the next few days, Annie continued working part-time at Kevin's place. During that time, Kevin even praised her cooking in front of others. One day, Kevin suddenly asked Annie to help him take a few casual photos at home, because whenever he was at home, he couldn't switch into work mode. For Annie, this was an easy task. She began recreating the atmosphere of a live concert, and the moment Kevin saw it, he immediately snapped into professional mode. To Annie, this didn't feel like work at all, but more like a reward. After the job was done, Annie was about to head home. Kevin gathered his courage and thanked her sincerely. He said that whenever Annie praised him, it genuinely made him happy inside. Annie was so moved that she started crying, but Kevin thought he had said something wrong. She quickly explained that she was just surprised he could say something so heartfelt. Kevin smiled and said it was all thanks to Annie. Thinking his smile had scared her, Kevin quickly covered his face. Annie rushed forward to stop him from hiding, but accidentally knocked him down to the floor. She told him his smile was really cute. Just then, a strange man suddenly appeared outside the door. The next day, news about a girl secretly following a celebrity home shot to the top of the trending charts. Even though none of her classmates knew it was Annie, she was still terrified. After the incident, Annie was fired by the agency. Kevin sank back into the same depressed state as before, and Annie missed him just as much, but she was afraid that if she saw Kevin again, she wouldn't be able to control her feelings. So she chose to quietly support him from afar, as just another fan. One day, after watching Kevin's concert, Annie was about to leave, when someone suddenly pulled her into an emergency stairwell. That person was Kevin, who had rushed over to find her. The boy casually asked what kind of underwear the girl was wearing. To his surprise, she answered without hesitation, because in Jenny's heart, Jack was her closest friend. After a full week of training, John finally lost some weight. Wanting to regain his image, he arranged to meet up with his old friends. The three of them even took a photo together to remember the moment. But the next morning, Jack heard loud voices coming from the classroom. 4 people were surrounding John, mocking and putting him down. Luna tried to say something, but they cut her off. Standing outside the door, Jack and the others listened quietly. Jack grew furious. He'd worked so hard to help John regain his confidence, and now it was being destroyed again. So he walked into the classroom. Mike looked up and asked why Jack would hang out with someone like John. Jack rubbed his chin, trying to remember who Mike was. Turns out, they had faced each other in the baseball finals before, though Jack had already given up baseball since then. While talking, Mike reached out and messed with John's hair, then said that nobody wanted to be John's friend except Jack. He turned to John with a glare and warned him not to cause Jack any more trouble. After that, Mike and his group walked out of the classroom. Watching them leave, Jack couldn't help but wonder what Mike was really up to. On his way home, Jack kept thinking about John. Just then, someone patted him on the back. It was Jenny, asking him to join her for yoga practice. While stretching, Jenny noticed something was bothering him and asked what was on his mind. Jack didn't give a direct answer. Instead, he gave an example. If you were in a competition and didn't do well, what would you do? Jenny smiled and said, if that happened, I'd just keep trying until I did better next time. After that, they decided to play basketball and even made a bet. If Jack won, Jenny would have to answer one of his weird questions. Being in the basketball club, Jenny was confident she wouldn't lose. But in the end, Jack lost and came back with a bag of drinks. He sat down and told Jenny everything about John. Jack didn't know how to change John's friend's opinion of him. Jenny gave him a long talk about how to help others the right way, and that no matter the outcome, he should always give his best effort. Her words lifted Jack's spirits again. By the 3rd week, John had grown stronger. He came to the field, ready for a soccer match with Mike's group. Before the game started, they set a punishment for the losers. Hearing that, John hesitated, saying he was too clumsy for this. Jack told him not to worry, even if they lost, he wouldn't have to do the punishment. As the match began, Jack passed the ball to John for a shot, but in a funny twist, John swung and missed completely, falling flat on the ground. The others burst out laughing. Jack ran over and told him not to give up, just treat it like a fun game. Even though John's soccer skills were awful, he kept trying his best to adapt, but the score gap kept growing wider. Seeing that, Luna and the others cheered them on, but when another ball came flying his way, John froze and missed again. Losing all confidence, he just stood there blankly. Jack had no choice but to team up with Daniel. Together they scored several goals, but still ended up losing. After the game, Jack and the others did frog jumps as punishment, while Mike mocked John mercilessly. After school, Annie praised Jack, saying his last goal looked awesome, but admitted their loss was still pretty bad. Jack laughed and said it was John's fault. Unfortunately, John happened to be nearby. When they greeted him, John snapped and accused Jack of making fun of him. To Jack, it was just a joke. But after the soccer match, John had completely lost his confidence. To make it worse, Mike had told him afterward that he was just dead weight, someone who only made Jack look better. That pushed John over the edge. He got furious. Jack quickly apologized, saying he hadn't thought things through. Annie stepped forward and argued with John. After spending 3 weeks with Jack, she knew he wasn't that kind of person, and John should have known it too. But Jack stopped her mid-sentence and apologized again. John said nothing. He just turned and ran off. On the way home, Jack and Annie didn't talk much about it. To Annie, none of that really mattered. What mattered was being by Jack's side every day, and maybe, forever. Jenny shamelessly proposed to the cold and aloof Demon King. Instead of rejecting her, the Demon King actually started blushing. In her previous life, Jenny had been obsessed with playing Otome games. After dying from illness, she suddenly realized she had been reincarnated into the world of that very game. But she wasn't reborn as the heroine Lucy. Instead, she became the villainess, who was about to have her engagement cancelled. According to the game's storyline, Jenny was the mastermind behind framing Lucy. In the end, the enraged Demon King would crush her under his foot. Determined not to let the story play out that way, Jenny decided to marry the Demon King before that could happen, and change her tragic fate. So she set out on a journey to find the Demon King. Although her clothes and shoes were ruined along the way, she eventually arrived at the gates of the Demon King's castle. Out of instinct, she tried pushing the massive door open, but no matter how hard she pushed, it wouldn't budge.
あらご親切にどうも
Unexpectedly, the Demon King noticed her and blew the door open with magic. Jenny stared at his handsome appearance in a daze, but the Demon King had no idea what she was thinking and asked why she had come. Jenny bluntly said she wanted to marry him. Hearing that, the Demon King immediately summoned a bolt of lightning. The sudden strike scared Jenny so badly that she fainted on the spot. While everyone was discussing how to deal with her, Jenny suddenly woke up. She praised the Demon King for showing incredible talent at the age of 8, because he could freely transform into a dragon. He was known as the Demon King. If he married her, perhaps they could create a miracle together. But one of his aides tried to drag Jenny outside. At that moment, the Demon King suddenly became shy and asked if she truly liked him. Jenny immediately denied it. Embarrassed and angry, the Demon King began mocking her. Jenny had no choice but to pull out a dagger and threaten him. When he realized she had only come to flirt, the Demon King calmly erased the dagger with magic. Seeing that her plan had failed, Jenny looked down at her messy appearance and quickly apologized to him. She said she would come back after dressing properly, but with a snap of his fingers, Jenny was instantly dressed in luxurious clothing. The Demon King told her there was no need for her to come again.
魔法がかかったドレス素敵
Seeing his reaction, his subordinates couldn't help but laugh. With a command from the Demon King, Jenny was instantly teleported away. After returning home, Jenny received an invitation to a royal ball from the Prince and Lucy. They clearly intended to humiliate her. With little time left before the ball, Jenny set off for the Demon King's castle once again. But after walking around several times, she realized she was still in the same place. So she came up with an idea. She used a bow ribbon to lure the crow guarding the gate, then tempted it with a nut and tricked it into eating it. Soon the crow's body became numb. Jenny grabbed the crow and threatened the Demon King, saying she would pluck out all its feathers if he didn't come out. Only then did the Demon King show himself. He used magic to restore the crow to normal. But to thank the crow for its help, Jenny handed it a cookie. The crow wanted to eat it, but was afraid it might be a trap. So the Demon King tasted it first, before giving it to the crow. Under Jenny's watchful gaze, the Demon King calmly ate the cookie. After confirming there was no problem, he fed the cookie to the crow. At that moment, Jenny revealed a mischievous grin. It turned out, she had secretly added an aphrodisiac to the cookie. Once again, the Demon King had been tricked by Jenny. Just to catch a glimpse under his childhood sweetheart's skirt, the boy goes to ridiculous lengths. He cleverly sends his pet dog first, successfully grabbing the girl's attention. Then he launches a sneak attack from behind. Even after getting beaten down, Jack still refuses to give up. Noelle throws another powerful punch and knocks him flat. The reason Noelle is so strong is because she's actually a witch. She drops a coin into a phone booth, and something magical happens.
出勤します
Her workplace is the reverse world, a fantastical alternate dimension. Dragons are everywhere. Some are used as transportation, others help grow fruit. Today, witches Noelle and Nini are harvesting rare grapes used to make champagne. Only witches can do this job, because if ordinary humans come into direct contact with dragons, the worst outcome is execution. Dragons unconsciously absorb human negative emotions, and eventually fall into becoming savage dark dragons. Witches exist to keep the balance between the two species.
大さんどこに生えてんのその部分は鼻の穴ですねなんなのマジで最悪もう早く昇進したいはいはい
Meanwhile, Jack in the human world sneaks into a phone booth with his childhood friend, trying to find out why Noelle suddenly disappeared. Just as he's about to give up, his pet dog suddenly mutates. A terrifying dark dragon bursts out of its body. At the same time, Noelle receives an emergency call. Since the tactical team has been sent north, the mission to defeat this dark dragon now falls to her and Nini, using special coins that lead straight to the human world.
サーベルズに昇進するんだから
Jack can't see the dark dragon, but he senses danger approaching. Just when he's cornered, Noelle and Nini arrive. They find their target, but something feels wrong. Dark dragons shouldn't exist in the human world. Suddenly, the dragon speaks. Nini asks Noelle what's going on. Why does the dragon want to see her panties? Curious, Noelle yells for Jack to come out. This dragon has to be connected to him. Jack finally sees Noelle, but since he can't see the dragon, he thinks she's just floating in midair. Noelle warns him that contacting dragons illegally means 100 years in prison or execution. Jack can't hear her, but from her expression he can tell she's mad. Still, he thinks she looks cute when she's angry. That only makes Noelle even madder.
規則に従って殺します まあ待ちなって。
Seeing the shriveled dog in Jack's hands, they suspect it's a masked dragon, a creature that attaches to corpses and disguises itself as the original animal. Jack excitedly shouts to Noel. His friend tells him to stop yelling before the dragon notices. Jack is confused. Can his friend see the dragon? Nini tells Noel to handle the dark dragon while she rescues the two boys. But suddenly Noel realizes something is wrong.
待って、ニニさん。
This was the most incredible man I'd ever seen. With just a single swing, he could summon countless silver blades, unleashing a storm-like barrage of attacks. Not long ago, Kevin had accepted a mission to eliminate Jack and his team. But to his surprise, Jack blocked his first strike with ease. Even though Kevin's attacks were as fast as a blur, Jack parried them effortlessly. What shocked Kevin even more was how his own weapon shattered like paper. Against Jack's defense, Kevin quickly switched to daggers, launching attacks from every tricky angle imaginable. Yet he still couldn't land a single hit. Realizing Jack wasn't ordinary, Kevin got serious. He charged again, faster than before. The clash between the two grew fiercer, their weapons striking so rapidly that the shockwaves nearly reached Jenny and the others. Thankfully, Lucy activated a magic barrier just in time, barely shielding them from the blast. She warned Jenny not to get any closer, because Kevin wasn't just anyone. He was the youngest S-rank assassin in history, a dragon slayer at only 13, so powerful that even the Six Saints avoided crossing him. Meanwhile, Jack faced every one of Kevin's attacks head-on, deflecting them without taking a single step back. Kevin was stunned. Jack had not only blocked all his strikes, but also shattered every dagger he used. Even unarmed, Kevin refused to retreat. He still had one final move. He picked up his very first weapon, a cross-shaped sword, and hurled it high into the sky. In an instant, beams of light flashed overhead, and countless sword projections appeared above them. With a single command from Kevin, the sky full of blades rained down on Jack like a violent storm. The girl never expected that after slaying a dragon, she would find its egg deep inside a cave. To make the dragon egg imprint on her as its mother, she infused it with her own dark magic. The egg turned completely black. She knew that soon, the story's heroine, Celia, would also obtain a dragon egg. With her light affinity powers, Celia would hatch a golden dragon. To make her own black egg hatch faster, Jenny did everything with it, even sleeping while holding it close. Time passed quickly, and today was finally hatching day. The egg began to crack little by little. Jenny excitedly grabbed Pike's hand. She had cared for this dragon like her own child.
もっと大きな声で頑張れ頑張れ頑張れ頑張れ
But the dark attributed dragon shocked the servants and Pike, yet Jenny treated it like a treasure. However, the dragon was wild and unruly. It shot dark flames at her and even used eye-based magic attacks. This terrified both Jenny and Pike. When she announced she would sleep with the dragon, the two were so scared they ran off. So Jenny spent the night holding the dark dragon. The next morning, a servant's scream woke her.
子供の成長は早いというが、これほどまでと。
The dragon had grown shockingly large overnight. This posed a problem. It was now too big to keep indoors. When classmates walked by, they were terrified. In their eyes, this dragon was a demon. Ike was also stunned. He hadn't known a dragon could grow so much in one night. To ease her classmates' fears, Jenny tried to let the dragon play with them. Pike quickly stopped her. Left with no choice, Jenny called the dragon back. She wondered if people were just not used to pets. She suddenly asked Pike if he liked the dragon, but he didn't know how to answer. After all, this creature was clearly dangerous.
ああ、いいな。私もされてみたい。その辺でね。大丈夫？生き物のよだれとか気になるタイプだった。
来ているだけで十分だと思ってる。
Just then, Prince Edward arrived. He made it clear he didn't think such a dangerous creature should remain at the academy.
リュウ、やめなさい。初対面に慣れしくしちゃうね。
Seeing his stern expression, Edward quickly backed down. Celia then left with him, looking embarrassed. At that moment, Nora came over. Her eyes lit up. She seemed to really like the dark dragon. She petted it warmly, as if they were already familiar. The dark dragon seemed fascinated by the gemstone on her necklace. Without hesitation, Nora took it off and began to play with the dragon as if walking a dog. It turned out the dragon's excited behavior was its way of showing affection. Time flew by. As Jenny raised it, the dark dragon grew to its adult form. It was time to train it to fly. Without hesitation, Jenny took it for its first flight. Surprisingly, the flight went smoothly, but the people below were terrified. It looked like a witch had come to attack the city. Jenny felt this level of flying wasn't enough. She decided to take a risk and commanded the dragon to do a roll mid-air. As a result, she fell off. But she wasn't worried about herself. She was afraid her fall might damage the town. So she tried to adjust her trajectory while falling. Pike, who had been following the whole time, was horrified. He rushed to carry Jenny to the infirmary. But aside from looking messy, Jenny was perfectly fine with her level 99 stats. The fall was nothing. A few days later, Jenny went out to buy pet supplies for her dragon. That's when a spy from another country approached her, asking to speak in private. The old man never expected the reincarnation goddess to play such a huge joke on him. He was reborn into a noble family, but to his surprise, he was now a girl. After his parents left the room, Jack, formerly the strongest hero king in his past life, first checked whether he could sense spiritual energy. Having spiritual energy would mean he could use magic. He hadn't sensed any from his parents earlier, but fortunately, his worries were unnecessary. This body was quite talented. Just then, his mother unexpectedly opened the door. Though Jack reacted quickly, his mother still caught a glimpse. Was this child floating in the air just now? Jack immediately burst into loud crying, trying to bluff his way through. Luckily, his mother dismissed it as her imagination. More importantly, an attack by magic stone beasts left her no time to dwell on it. In other words, monsters were assaulting the city. Unlike his panicked mother, Jack was very interested in these magic stone beasts. He actually hoped the monsters in this world would be strong. That would make them worth defeating. His mother carried him as they hurried to another room, praying the night order could repel the monsters. Jack observed the magic stone beasts briefly. Two of them had gemstones of different colors, and each individual showed variation. He sensed magical energy from them, and was just getting excited. But to others, it looked like he was crying, so his mother held him even tighter. Carl wanted to join the fight, but his mother stopped him. His magic crest was special grade. Even if everyone else here had to be sacrificed, he could not be harmed. Yet as soon as she finished speaking, a magic stone beast broke into the room. Though it was just one, it was deadly enough. His mother quickly handed both children to Carl. She would buy time. But Carl hesitated. He set the children down, and stood in front of his mother instead. Jack watched it all. With that kind of courage, Carl would surely become remarkable in the future. But right now, he was still too inexperienced. Soon, both of them were not decide. At this critical moment, Jack crawled out. Yes, crawled, which was perfectly reasonable for a baby. Facing the roaring beast, he showed no fear at all. The magic stone beast was sent flying into the sky, and the city wall was blasted open with a huge hole. Jack hadn't expected that even the simplest magic from his memory would have such power. Just then, Carl woke up. Jack panicked, afraid of being seen. But the next moment, Carl passed out again. 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. Jack grew from a baby into a child. Looking at his own cute face in the mirror, he couldn't help but feel pleased. Being reborn as a girl wasn't so bad after all. Without distractions from attraction to women, he could focus entirely on martial arts. Meanwhile, 13-year-old Carl had grown into a handsome youth, and continued practicing swordsmanship diligently as always. He truly had the bearing of a future lord. In the entire Night Order now, no one except Jack's father could match Carl in combat. Even Jack wanted to spar with him once. Just then, a fat man arrived with a group of people to pick a fight. The fat man was a merchant guild leader. He had a son named Raha, who was here to challenge the knights to martial contests. Raha defeated 10 knights in a row. He mocked the Night Order for being slow. None of them could put up a decent fight. Jack, watching from the side, noticed something off. Raha was clearly using magic to slow the knights down. But in this era that didn't value magic, no one else could tell. Carl couldn't stand it any longer, and stepped forward to accept the challenge. Before the match began, Jack warned Carl not to look into Raha's eyes. Though Carl didn't understand, he followed the advice.
押してるぞ。さすがラファエル様だ。
このままいける。くそ、ラファエル様、そこだ。ガスマスだ。危ない。隙ありだ。そこまで。
Carl lost, which annoyed Jack, so Jack picked up a wooden sword and stepped forward, saying he wanted revenge. But Raha had no interest in fighting a delicate-looking girl. Jack then threatened Raha if he refused to fight, Jack would expose his use of magic. Reluctantly, Raha accepted the challenge. As soon as the match began, Raha used eye magic to bind Jack's movements, but magic of that level could never work on Jack. To make the match more interesting, Jack decided not to use any magic himself. He would defeat Raha with pure swordsmanship alone. Then, he closed his eyes. The boy ran his territory like a tower defense game. The once barren village was turned into a solid fortress in just one day. Tall concrete walls surrounded it. Battlements and watchtowers were all in place. Hundreds of ballistae lined the walls. And all of this was made with his so-called useless production magic. With Jack's near-infinite magic, he could have built even more. But the village had only about 100 people. More weapons would be useless without hands to wield them. Besides, at its current scale, it was already a fortress. Vice Captain Dai was stunned. He said Jack's Marquis father was foolish to exile him just for not awakening elemental magic. Before building defenses, Jack improved the villagers' lives. Since he could make mansions with magic, he wouldn't let them live in shacks, so he rebuilt every house himself. and used modern city planning to arrange them neatly for future expansion. Next was water supply. Jack had the butler dig a canal with earth magic. Di and the Knights handled the details. Jack reinforced the ground and walls with production magic. In less than a day, the canal connected to the lake. When the gates opened, clear lake water flowed in, stretching under the villagers' eager eyes, and filling the moat by the walls. Jack wasn't satisfied yet. Thinking of rainy season floods, he made a reservoir outside the village. The villagers were grateful, since they once had to travel far for water. Now the moat and reservoir were right there. After solving survival needs, Jack thought about making money. The weapons he made were perfect. Though made of wood, they could cut through adventurers' sturdy shields. Selling them would bring profit. But the territory couldn't rely on Jack alone. Villagers needed livelihoods too, so Jack looked for ways they could join in. Just then, Alter returned with a cart of ore, with copper, iron, gold, silver, and even some mithril. Jack was thrilled, and made iron ingots with magic, to repay Omar for breaking his shield. He forged him a short sword and a long sword. Using metal for the first time, Jack felt the difference in texture, and pictured every detail. Soon, a fine short sword was born, followed by a sharp long sword. Omar was moved, while other adventurers grew jealous, and asked Jack for weapons too. For Jack it was easy, and he made them all. But the butler looked grim at the mithril. He said such rich or nearby was unusual, meaning a new dungeon had appeared. Dungeons are treasure troves of endless resources. If Jack's father learned of it, he would send forces to seize it. So Jack chose not to explore yet, but to fortify the village first. Whether bandits or monsters came, they'd be shredded by ballistae. Just then, villagers rushed in with news. A swarm of shell dragons was approaching. For the villagers, it was life or death. So many could destroy a city. But Jack wasn't afraid. He was excited. It was the perfect test of the fortress. He ordered firmly, "Close the gates, prepare for battle." Jack went to teach at the wealthy woman's house, but unexpectedly encountered the mistress fresh out of the shower. Jack quickly closed his eyes and apologized, but the 5-0 scoring exams in the bag caught Jack's attention. The girl seized the chance to flee. However, all the names on the exams had been torn off, leaving Jack unable to tell whose papers they were. Since the culprit wasn't wearing clothes at the time, it was impossible to identify who it was. So Jack suggested everyone let him take another look. Everyone agreed, but just as he removed the hairpin, a scent of shampoo wafted over. Jack immediately leaned in to sniff. Suddenly an idea struck him. Since he couldn't tell faces apart, he'd rely on voices instead. Suddenly Jenny stepped forward. She said the culprit might not be here. Jack didn't believe her. With no other options, he had to play his trump card, a blank test paper identical to the others. If anyone scored 0 points, that person would be the culprit. Everyone grew anxious, except Jenny, who wore a sly grin. Jack could never have guessed that the shy girl was actually her. She had already reviewed the previous exam papers. As Jenny finished writing her final answer, her pupils suddenly contracted. Jack might try comparing notes, so Jenny hastily erased her previous writing, and rewrote it to mimic others' handwriting. She then confidently handed in her paper. Jenny thought she could fool Jack, but he caught her red-handed. Jenny couldn't understand where she'd gone wrong. It turned out Jack could identify the writer just by the letters. Jenny could only bow to his skill. By then, the remaining 4 had finished too. Jack saw everyone's handwriting resembled the culprits. This meant all 5 had scored 0. Jack hadn't expected that during his illness, they hadn't studied diligently at all. Suddenly, one of them asked Jack if he was trying to find that girl from 5 years ago. It turned out that although Jack excelled academically now, he had been a mischievous child who disliked studying in elementary school. His only hobby was photography. Tragically, the girl he liked already had a childhood friend she'd known since they were little. He realized he wasn't important to his friends. As he played with his camera in disappointment, a woman suddenly appeared beside him. She accused Jack of secretly photographing her, even involving the police. Faced with her harassment, only checking the camera could prove Jack's innocence. But Jack suddenly remembered. It contained many photos of the girl he liked. While Jack hesitated, a little girl appearing behind him proved his innocence. Facing the innocent girl, Jack's heart stirred. They chatted happily. The girl had bought 5 amulets back then, and now, one of these 5 girls happened to have such an amulet, so the girl was likely among the 5 sisters. He tentatively asked everyone if they had seen him when they were little. No one reacted. Jack also felt that this group of clueless girls couldn't be that clever child. To help the 5 sisters pass their final exams, Jack stayed up all night preparing practice problems for them, only to collapse asleep in the hallway. Later, Jack rummaged through his bag and pulled out a stack of practice problems, result of his all-night effort. Everyone should have been studying, but instead they argued over who got to watch their favorite TV show. Jack turned off the TV, and they finally began their final exam cram session. Alice accidentally discovered that the man in front of her, the one planning to violate her, actually possessed the ability to foresee the future. Not only could he identify the assassin Alice hired, he could turn the situation around every single time, right at the moment of crisis. Just not long ago, Mike confronted Alice with a photograph claiming that she was the killer. With her identity exposed, Alice immediately developed the intention to kill him. But while her heart was filled with murderous thoughts, her face remained innocent and pitiful. She pleaded with Mike not to show the photo to anyone else. Mike didn't refuse. In fact, he agreed quite easily, but on one condition. Alice had to become his girlfriend. Later, while giving Mike a massage, Alice secretly prepared to kill him with a poison needle. But that thought triggered Mike's warning, because according to the photograph, he would only be assassinated by Alice at exactly 10 p.m., which meant that before that time arrived, no matter what she tried, Mike couldn't die. If Alice attacked now, various unforeseeable conditions would only make her attempt fail. Late that night, Alice noticed Mike's camera slowly printing out 5 new future photos, but when she saw one of them, her expression instantly changed. She quickly hid that particular photo in her stocking, without Mike noticing. Morning came. Alice thought her plan was flawless, but Mike calmly told her that every night he could foresee 5 futures. Yet today, only 4 photos remained.
どうでもよかったんだけどさ、身体検査なりこりゃ隠したくもなるよな。
Mike suddenly searched her, catching Alice completely off guard. What he didn't know was, the missing photo was actually part of Alice's trap. For the sake of their own survival, the two temporarily formed an uneasy alliance. Mike said that they should meet at the warehouse at 10 p.m. If nothing happened by then, it would prove Alice wasn't the killer. So while Mike was showering, Alice secretly adjusted his watch, turning it 10 minutes late.
というわけでマジで夜が楽しみになってきたわ。
ではもう帰っていいでしょうか。私もお風呂に入りたいです。
体洗ってくるってわけね。じゃあ10時に待ってるから。
Night fell. Alice arrived early at the warehouse. Just as she reached for her poison needle, it slipped from her fingers and rolled under a bench. At that moment, Mike appeared. She had no choice, so she grabbed a skipping rope from the ground and lunged at him.
早くね。なんちゃって。何をどう頑張ったって。無駄なんだよ。
Mike fought back while calmly explaining everything. He had already realized his watch was off. Even as he spoke, Alice suddenly grabbed his wrist, and Mike's body froze in place. He never expected this. Alice had intentionally dropped the needle earlier, knowing that Mike would push her down during the struggle. Right then, she could reach under the bench and retrieve the needle. The photo she left for him to find was just bait. She had already switched out the real prophecy. Alice then pulled out the genuine photo, planning to let Mike die knowing the truth. But for Alice, her real trouble was only just beginning.
しかし、本当に厄介なのはここからだ。
Because the girl was too cute, she got harassed by delinquents on the street. At a critical moment, she saw someone she thought could save her, so she hurriedly called out to him for help, but he completely ignored her. Anna had always been petite and adorable since childhood, but that instead became an excuse for others to exclude and bully her. Over time, her personality gradually turned cold. By the time she reached high school, just a simple glance from her would make others feel intimidated and instinctively stay away from her. But in reality, Anna didn't understand why. She even suspected that she looked scary, so she tugged at her cheeks in front of a mirror. Unexpectedly, a male classmate suddenly leaned in, caught off guard. Anna was so startled that she fell to the ground. Seeing this, the boy quickly apologized. He was just curious what Anna was doing alone by the mirror. At that moment, Jack's friend George showed up. George thought Jack was bullying her, so he politely helped Anna up. After standing up, Anna was surprised at how tall George was. After exchanging greetings, the two were about to leave. Before leaving, Jack called out Anna's name, which made her feel confused. How did he know her name? The next day, Anna went to return a book to a friend, but as soon as she opened the door, she almost got knocked over. Fortunately, the other person caught her in time, but the position they ended up in made Anna feel flustered. After regaining her composure, she realized it was George. Then suddenly, George leaned his face close to hers, which made Anna's mind go blank. However, George was just nearsighted and not wearing glasses, so he wanted to take a closer look. After that, Anna realized George had a gentle personality and was easy to get along with. Although Jack called her by the wrong name when leaving, Anna felt they probably wouldn't interact again. However, when she went outside, she noticed boys always moved in groups, which she, someone who preferred being alone, couldn't understand. Then she saw Jack. The next second, their eyes met, but Anna instinctively looked away, because she felt they weren't close enough to greet each other. While Anna was choosing a drink, Jack suddenly appeared. He asked why she ignored him. He had even waved just now, but Anna hadn't noticed at all. Seeing this, she quickly explained. After a brief interaction, Anna concluded that George wasn't a bad person. He was just a bit overly enthusiastic, which made her feel slightly cautious. Then George's friends came over. They thought Jack was hitting on her, and started joking about it. Watching them fool around, Anna couldn't understand this kind of behavior at all, so her face showed no expression. Jack's friends thought they had said something wrong, and the atmosphere suddenly became awkward. At that moment, Jack suddenly reached out and pinched her cheek. Anna thought he was trying to bully her, so she started thinking of how to fight back. In the end, she chose to respond with a stiff smile, and then left. Seeing this, Jack's friends thought they had interrupted Jack and Anna. Hearing that, Jack just smiled, because he knew Anna wasn't as cold as she appeared. The man never expected that the deaf girl he liked would suddenly laugh out loud. That moment instantly made his heart race. When he fed the girl pine nuts, in order to capture her cute expressions, Jack simply poured all the pine nuts into Anna's hand. He even went further just to make Anna laugh again. While Anna was focused on reading her notes, Jack quietly reached out and started tickling her. It turned out that just moments earlier, Jack had brought Anna back to his home. Seeing how nervous Anna looked, he asked whether she had enjoyed her day. Anna smiled and used sign language to express happiness, but when Jack tried to copy the same gesture, he directly grabbed Anna's hand to imitate it. This made Anna feel a little flustered. However, in the next second, Jack naturally rested his hand on Anna's shoulder. He then asked Anna whether anyone had ever told her that staying by her side made them sleepy. Although Anna was confused by the meaning of his words, she still answered no, so Jack explained that it was because being near Anna made people feel at ease. Those words made Anna's heart flutter. She looked at Jack and felt a deep warmth inside. Then Anna leaned into Jack's embrace. After that, Jack talked about his family. Anna learned that Jack's family all lived in Germany, and that he had learned sign language from them. What surprised Jack, however, was that none of Anna's family knew sign language. They communicated using gestures, writing, or spoken words. Later, the shop owner called to check on Anna, but Jack did not pay much attention. He was busy peeling nuts for Anna. Watching Anna eat the nuts, he started imagining how cute she would look, with her mouth completely stuffed with nuts. So Jack immediately took Anna's hand and poured all the nuts into it. This left Anna a bit confused, and just to hear Anna's cute laughter again. Jack took the chance to tickle her once more. This instantly made Anna blush in embarrassment, and pushed Jack away. So Jack explained that he only wanted to hear her laugh again. But Anna said that her laugh sounded strange. Jack, however, only found it adorable. He wanted to know more about Anna, but at that moment, the doorbell interrupted them. This made Jack feel irritated. Anna also felt that it was time for her to leave, but when she looked at the person at the door, she was surprised. The other person was equally shocked. Jack then told Anna to go downstairs first. He said he would come find her later. After hearing this, Anna quickly ran off. Ellie had actually come to return the keys, but she suddenly thanked Jack loudly. She thanked him for letting her stay overnight last time. Then Ellie quietly glanced toward Anna. However, Anna showed no reaction at all. This left Ellie confused, but Jack was already angry. He directly reached out and asked for the keys, even though Ellie was unwilling. She could only hand the keys back to Jack. Anna happened to witness this scene. Jack seemed to notice that something was wrong with Anna. Meanwhile, inside the elevator, Anna was guessing that Ellie and Jack were together. This made Anna feel anxious. Just as a friend called Anna to ask about her progress, Jack and Ellie came downstairs as well. They were standing very close to each other. This made Anna feel uncomfortable, but she did not know that Ellie was the one clinging to Jack. Jack immediately shook Ellie off. After realizing that Anna had already left, he chased after her at once, but in the end, he could not find Anna. So the next day, he went straight to Anna's friend's home. As expected, he found Anna there. Anna tried to leave, but Jack grabbed her hand and stopped her. After countless trials, the hero finally made it to the deepest chamber of the Demon Lord's castle, ready for a life or death battle. But when he burst through the door, he saw a busty beauty sitting on the throne. The hero froze on the spot. She's the Demon Lord? Seriously? She met his doubt by casually flashing the Demon King's crest. No doubt about it, she was the real deal. But she's way too cute. The hero chanted in his head, "Don't get distracted by the boobs. I'm here to save the world." Before he could draw his sword, the Demon Lord suddenly asked, "Wanna be mine?" The hero refused instantly. He had seen countless human lives lost in battle. The demon race had too much blood on their hands. But to his shock, she pulled out evidence to prove otherwise. The war had united the demons, stopped human infighting, and suppressed disease. It was all a political game allowed by human leaders. Still, the hero didn't buy it. So she grabbed his hand and showed him her memories. A vision of peace, of a world she dreamed of building with him. She didn't want war anymore. She just wanted him to build a better future. As she softly pleaded, the hero blushed, but still held his ground. That's when she sweetened the deal. "I'll give you all my power, if you give me all of you." Hero, wait, this deal doesn't sound bad? Before he could process it, she slowly backed him into a corner. Then she whispered shyly, "You don't mind me, right? I don't really have a sexy body. My arms are kinda squishy." The hero looked at her and finally gave in. He signed the pact and became hers. Right after signing, she got so excited, she knocked over the memory lamp, and the hero saw the truth. Her horns were fake. She looked completely human, even crazier. Her grand vision's first step was to take him farming. They moved to a tiny village, fed pigs with clovers. The harvest was good year-round. At night, they returned to the castle. She patted the seat by the fireplace. "Come sit with me. This is the VIP spot. You know." She praised his courage. He replied, "Well, you're a girl, and not scary." She pouted. "In that case, I'm starting Operation Marriage and Babies." That night, the hero was exhausted. She said, "I heard lying on someone's lap helps with fatigue." He didn't even hesitate, just laid his head down and knocked out. The Demon Lord gently brushed his hair, murmuring, "Just like I imagined, so fluffy." Then suddenly, the hero mumbled, "Your lap is really comfortable." And just as the moment turned sweet, the boy was astonished to discover a little girl less than 10 centimeters tall in the yard. He moved closer to take a careful look, but unexpectedly, she vanished without a trace. After the boy left, the dust made it home safely after the scare. It turned out that Arrietty had ventured out to find a bay leaf for her mother. Her family belonged to the tiny people, living beneath the floors of humans. They borrowed all the daily necessities they needed. That day, a 12-year-old boy came to the countryside to stay, as he suffered from a severe heart condition. The boy had to move here to recuperate, which led to the incident that had just occurred. When Arrietty's father returned, his face was filled with worry. He noticed that a little boy had moved into the human house, which meant borrowing things would become more challenging in the future. Arrietty also told her father about her encounter with the boy. It turned out that her father had promised Arrietty they could go borrowing together tonight, but this sudden change left him uncertain. After careful consideration, her father decided to take his daughter along after all, as Arrietty had grown up, and learning the skill of borrowing was essential. That evening, Arrietty excitedly changed into new clothes, put on knee-high boots, and tied her hair into a neat ponytail. Once everything was ready, her father set off with her. A small lantern illuminated the path ahead, and her father's figure seemed even more imposing than usual. Suddenly, they encountered a fearsome cockroach, but Arrietty fearlessly drove it away. They crossed a bridge made of nails, climbed onto a partition, and her father handed the lantern to Arrietty for safekeeping. The next step required using a pulley to ascend. Following her father's demonstration, Arrietty also stepped onto the ladder. As she climbed higher, she carefully leaped into her father's arms. After passing through a cabinet, they finally reached the borrowing spot. This was Arrietty's first time seeing a human kitchen, and the array of items left her dazzled. The first item they needed to borrow was a cube of sugar on the table opposite. Her father slid down using a rope, his movements so fluid he seemed like a warrior. Then he quickly approached the cabinet, stuck double-sided tape to the soles of his shoes, and was able to climb onto the table. In the end, he successfully retrieved the sugar cube and placed it in his backpack. Next morning, this teacher catches the students who are late. However, there's one student who always arrives at the last second, and for the teacher, it feels like a huge insult. Determined to catch him this time, as the school bell rings, the teacher quickly shuts the school gates. But just then, Sakamoto appears, holding a bamboo pole. The teacher, seeing this, thinks he's about to use the pole vault to jump over the gate.
I don't think so. Not in my house, sucker!
Sakamoto is the type of person who likes to do things differently. He always walks on high places. When erasing the board, he treats the chalk like billiard balls. And even when he's punished, he strikes the coolest poses. Some of the troublemakers in the class can't stand him and decide to prank Sakamoto by throwing his desk around, hoping to see him embarrass himself. However, the girls in the class who like him seize the opportunity to invite him to sit with them.
Sakamoto, you can sit next to me if you want to. No, you can sit next to me. No, sit next to me.
Now. There's no need to trouble yourselves. Don't worry. I'll be fine right here.
When Bobby, who dislikes Sakamoto's show-off attitude, sees him getting all the attention, he pulls away Sakamoto's chair to make him look foolish. But surprisingly, Sakamoto just sits in midair, leaving Bobby stunned. At that moment, a giant hornet flies into the classroom. The girls scream and rush out, but in their panic, they accidentally close the door, trapping the boys inside. Since the hornet only attacks dark, moving objects, everyone starts taking off their clothes to avoid being targeted. Seeing this, Bobby thinks this is his chance to impress the girls. If he can catch the hornet, they'll all admire him. However, the hornet flies past him, and Bobby, terrified, hurriedly strips down to his underwear. Meanwhile, Sakamoto, still wearing his black school uniform, remains calm. Bobby, touched by Sakamoto's bravery, believes he's risking himself to protect everyone, but Sakamoto calmly uses a compass to confront the hornet.
Now then. Technique, manner beans.
He quickly subdues it, leaving everyone in awe. The girls praise Sakamoto for his courage, while Bobby becomes the laughingstock among the boys. From that moment on, Bobby decides to change his approach and focus on comedy. Meanwhile, Sakamoto's perfect performance once again sparks dissatisfaction among the troublemakers. They decide to teach him a lesson. They lure him into the science prep room, planning to ambush him, but their plans are suddenly disrupted. It turns out, the cigarette butts they discarded in the classroom have ignited chemicals, and a fire starts spreading quickly. The troublemakers panic, but Sakamoto remains calm, starting to put out the fire in a bizarre stance. Seeing this, everyone joins in to help. In these strange movements, the fire begins to subside. When the teacher hears the noise upstairs and rushes over, he finds 4 students making weird moves. After the fire is put out, Sakamoto explains that he was simply trying to catch the teacher's attention. To avoid the troublemakers getting scolded, Sakamoto claims he was teaching them, and the troublemakers, moved by his actions, decide to let him off the hook. They silently admit that Sakamoto isn't actually a bad person. Just then, the leader of the troublemakers' phone rings.
Maybe I won't send this out just yet.
In order to learn magic, the boy made the drastic decision to sever both of his arms. This was the only way he believed he could find the channel to cast magic. The reason he wanted to learn magic was simple. He sought revenge for his father. In this world, magic was forbidden. Any magician caught would be ruthlessly executed, and the government had created an organization specifically to hunt down magic users. As a result, most magicians had been exterminated. The boy's name was John. His father was human, and his mother was a magician. However, after giving birth to him, his mother was quickly killed by the organization. For most of his life, John carefully hid his mixed magical heritage. But one day, while working, John accidentally injured his finger, and the black magical particles mixed with his blood exposed his identity as a magician. The factory's manager saw this and immediately reported him. Within minutes, the organization's agents arrived to arrest John. His father protected him, and John escaped by jumping out of the window, running quickly from the factory. As the agents turned their attention to his father, they devised a plan to capture John. John kept running for his life, only managing to shake off the pursuers by nightfall. Taking advantage of the cover of darkness, John returned home. He was shocked to find his father brutally beaten to death. Meanwhile, the organization's members were sitting nearby, playing cards while waiting for John to return. They planned to take him back for execution. In his rage, John knocked one of the agents down with a punch. The agent retaliated by slashing his face with a knife. This only made John more determined to kill them all. Fueled by anger, he killed every member of the organization who had come to capture him. Soon, a hefty bounty was placed on his head, and anyone who tried to capture him was swiftly eliminated. 3 months later, one night, John entered a hospital. In a cold, calculated move, he severed his arms, hoping to find the organs that would allow him to channel his magic. The on-duty doctor caught him in the act. The doctor, realizing John's intentions, offered to help him. He was fascinated by John's magic. John was taken aback by the offer, but with the doctor's help, he quickly discovered the channels from which his magic could flow. The doctor also reattached the severed arms, and by the next day, John was able to leave the hospital. A few hours later, 249 members of the organization were brought into the hospital. Their bodies had been cut into pieces, but astonishingly, they were all still alive. This was the result of John's magic.